I want to remind y'all of the power of the mind. You can think yourself into a depression. You can think your way into stress. You can think your way into misery, frustration. There's so much more power in the mind than you probably like to give yourself credit for. Change your mind. Decide that you love yourself enough to not surround yourself with people, things, and situations that can have your mind continuing to spiral down this negative and dysfunctional train.
Don't let anybody laugh at your thinking, because as you begin to think things that are not there, you need to understand that that thinking is the first step to a revolution in your life that is incredibly significant.
The person who has the most to do with what happens to you in life is you. It's not somebody else. It's not the environment. It's not the circumstances into which you were born. It is what you actively decide that you want for your life and how much energy you decide to put behind it. But nobody else can control your life except you.
Change your mind. It'll change your life. That's what I know. That's what I believe. The day you change your mind, it will change your life. You can create the outcome of your hour, your week, your month, and your year. You just have to decide in your mind what you want it to be.
Because if you think wrong, you go wrong. If you think down, you go down. If you think you can't get up, you can't get up. If you think you can't be free, you can't be free. If you think you can't learn anymore, you'll never be able to learn. Your thoughts are either dragging you down or taking you up.
You know, your brain has billions and billions of neurons, hundreds of billions of interconnections. It can process more than 2 million bits of information in 1 second. It doesn't forget anything you've ever seen or anything you've ever heard, which is why it's important to make sure you don't put the wrong things in there, because they always will impact upon you, subconsciously and consciously.
Do you have the courage to think something beyond where you are?
You are fully capable of deciding your own destiny. The question you face is, which path will you choose? This is something only you can decide.
Be the hero of your own movie. If your life was a movie and it started now, what would the hero of your life's movie do right now?
Do you have the courage to think? Because if you can think, you can change, you can move, you can evolve, you can grow, you can become. You are one idea away. Your credit is not a problem, your house is not a problem, your car is not a problem, your situation is not a problem, your thoughts are the problem. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Come on. You are one thought away from a great reformation in your life. One thought away from being a millionaire. One thought from overcoming. One thought from starting a ministry. One thought from building a business. One thought for the cure for AIDS is one thought away. The cure for cancer is one thought away. You serve the Lord with your mind. You serve humanity with your mind. If you sow into the kingdom, you're not asking God to give you money. What is money? Give me a thought. Give me an idea. Give me a strategy. Give me a plan. You are one thought away from the greatest experience you have ever had in your life. You are no better than the thoughts you think. If you think little, you go little. If you think weak, you go weak. If you think up, you go up.
Well, we went through your test results. Your biopsy came back showing signs of large cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a form of cancer.
Life is gone.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end.
We all get hit on the blind side by life.
A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. You can lose your family. You can lose your job. Lose your home, lose your car. They can say you can't come back. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place.
I've been fighting my whole life. Every punch I ever thrown has been a mom.
May I remind you, you were born in the dark, shaped by the dark, molded by the dark. No matter what you've ever been through, you had to go through it to get right here. We can fight our way back into the light.
So what do you do when you fall down?
Embrace the failure.
Recycle your pain. Get something from it. You're already in pain. Use it. Do something with it. Allow it to take you to the next level. Allow your pain to push you to greatness.
Some of the greatest things you will ever learn and some of the greatest changes in your life will be due to pain.
It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. Get up! Get up! Sometimes in life, you have to hit back. This is our new day. It's time for us to stand. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. There are certain things that you got to go through. There's certain pitfalls that you got to fall in. You have got to make a declaration to say, I am a conqueror. I'm unstoppable. There's nothing I can't achieve. You've got to be willing to harness your will. In spite of what you went through, in spite of how you suffered, you're still looking at your dream. Say to yourself, it is not over until I win.
Life will knock us down. But we can choose, matter or not, to get back up.
You will never truly know yourself until tested by adversity.
No matter how many times you have fallen, look up. Get up.
and don't ever give up.
My dad, he's completely wasted. He was tanked. He wanted to drive. And I let him. He went off the road. Hit a tree. I made it. He didn't.
It takes courage to let things go. Things that hurt you. Things that wounded you. Things that made you bleed. Things that where you suffered loss. Promotions you didn't get. Houses you lost. Men who left. Women who betrayed you. It takes courage to let it go. You have to have enough faith to believe that what is in front of you is greater than what was behind you. If you don't learn how to forgive, you cannot live. You cannot thrive. You cannot move forward. And you will always suffer. You will always suffer. But if that thing is still living in your head, it's going to still be living in your life. If you're still bitter in your head, you're going to be bitter in your life. You got to determine, do you want to embrace your destiny or do you want to flutter on the ground in your history? This is a decision only you can make. You will have to make a decision. If you want more in the second half of your life than what you had in the first half of your life, then you're going to have to let the first half go. Sometimes your history determines the fierceness with which you fight against what is in front of you. What I'm trying to tell you, beloved, is that you can have a new year, but it don't mean jack diddly if you don't have a new mind.
Every moment is beautiful. This is beautiful right now on your couch. Whatever it is, it's a beautiful moment. Be fully present to it. Have no guilt about it. That's the other thing, right? We're carrying old from the past, projecting in the future, or feeling guilty about now. I would say that guilt is the biggest, ugliest, most damaging sin of all. Guilt, because you carry it into the moment. You can't even enjoy this moment because you feel guilty about it. The problem is that when you're looking back, when you're constantly doing this, you're looking back, you have no energy to be available for the moment. And each moment offers its present, its gift. And if your eyes are busy distracted with what used to be, or what could be, then everything that is slips by you.
Stop wasting your weapons on what people say, because it is not what they say about you that matters. It is what you say about you that threatens your destiny. You will never be defeated by what they say about you. You will be defeated by what you say about you. I cannot step into the future and still think in my past. I cannot let the rumors and the stain of what they said about me destroy my opportunity.
We have control of our minute, our hour, our day, our week, our month, and our year.
If money was no object, if you could wake up and do what you wanted to do, what would you do today? If it didn't matter what majors made the most money, if you didn't have to worry about the pile of bills sitting on your dorm room desk, if you didn't have to worry about the opinions of your friends and your parents, what would you be doing today? You see, if you don't have a passion for what you do, what's the purpose of waking up? If you wait on your alarm clocks to wake you up every day, what's the purpose? Would you get up? Every day should have a purpose, and you should fuel it with your passion. A lot of you are probably facing a similar decision. Where do you go from here? Graduate college? What's the next step, right? I'm sure you have certain opportunities, most opportunities that a lot of people don't have. But what direction do you go in? The choices you make today, tomorrow, they might affect you for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, or for the rest of your life. There's one exception to this rule. You have to love what you do. You have to have a passion for anything that is a 9 or above. Because the time that's required to make that effectively and efficiently, to make the amount of revenue that's going to keep you content, may be the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years of your life. So if you're not willing to give 30 years to become a doctor, then don't do it. Because if you don't have a passion for it, you're going to wake up one day and find out that you're just working a job.
It does not matter where you come from. I have seen people come out of the desert, walk across the desert, being born in the most dire of circumstances. Doesn't matter what your mama did, whether she did or had a PhD or no D. What matters is now, this moment, and your willingness to see this moment for what it is, accept it, forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward. And the sooner you get that, the sooner your life gets into gear.
Then you'll really be living a limitless life. You'll be able to do the things that are important. And as Elon Musk said, if something is important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. And that's where most people stop. And this is the one that drives me crazy. And this is the thing about really trying to do something with your life. Yes, you might fail. Yes, you might embarrass yourself. You might end up doing a faceplant. You might end up wishing that you hadn't even started. But if it's important enough, even in that moment, you've got to get back up and ask yourself, honestly, where did I fail? What was the skill that I didn't have that was required of this task? And once you stop beating yourself up, once you stop turning inward with a judgment of I'm not good enough, and you start turning inward with the judgment of I don't have good enough skills yet, then you can do something, because you know it's only a matter of time, effort, and focus between who you are today and who you need to become to actually do that thing. So don't worry about whether or not you're going to fail, because the only promise that I can make you is that you will fail. And as long as the only promise that you're willing to make yourself is that you won't stop, ultimately you will get to the top of the mountain.
In order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary.
See, Nelson Mandela did it. He just did it not knowing if it were right. Mahatma Gandhi just did it not knowing if it were right. Mother Teresa just did it not looking for affirmation or confirmation. Is this right? Martin Luther King did it not even knowing if it would happen before his life ended. I mean, what are you waiting on? Are you willing to do it afraid? Are you willing to do it knowing that you got so much work to do to get it better, to get it more perfect? But are you willing to do it inside your imperfection? Do you realize that in your imperfection, you're perfect for the job?
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish.
You're just kind of waiting. You're waiting to get everything in order. You're waiting so that everything is in you, it's together. You're waiting to not be afraid. You're waiting to have the courage. You're waiting to have all the money. You're waiting to lose weight. How about you not wait to get it right? You figure out how does it look doing it wrong. You got to be willing to do it afraid. See, you might be waiting for the fear to stop. Well, I'm afraid, what do? Do it anyway. I'm afraid I don't quite know if I should move. Move anyway. I don't know if I should leap. Leap afraid. And then gather your courage on the way down.
How many people do you know that love the grind? How many people can you think of off the top of your head that are truly passionate about what they do, truly love showing up to the office every morning, and truly get fulfillment, excitement, and joy from their work? How many? How many people do you know that love the grind? I'm sad to say it's few and far between. With 7 billion people on this earth, finding people who actually love what they do is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. A recent poll showed that 70% of people in the United States do not like what they do. 70%. 7 out of 10 people do not feel passion for what they do. We get caught up in this mindset of thinking of hating our jobs as a fact of life that we all just have to deal with. We live for the holidays, we live for vacations, we live for the weekend, and we think of work as our enemy.
We go through life trying to seek security and not coming outside of our comfort zone, and we take most of our stuff with us to the grave. We've been holding back. We have ideas that we don't act on, things we want to do, we're afraid to take chances. See, a lot of people say no, ladies and gentlemen, to things, and they don't even know what they're saying no to. Pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that we don't have any special goals or ambitions or desires, when really deep down inside we do really want more.
You don't want to settle. You don't want to hate, dislike, or even have second thoughts about this career that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You want to find a craft that you love so much that you can't wait to wake up every single day, 7 days a week, and spend more time working on your passion.
The most important thing is, what's the purpose of your life? Why are you here? Maybe it's time to free yourself. And the way to do it is decide. Decide consciously what you want your life to be about. Decide consciously what's the purpose of your life. Something simple. Something you can live every single day.
Decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you. You've got at least 3 or 4 or 5 talents that you are not even aware of right now. And you'll never be aware of them unless you come outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself to develop your talents and abilities, to see what it is that you might have a knack for, that you haven't discovered as yet.
You can't stay where you are and go where you're trying to go. And that's the problem. Many of you love your comfort zone too much. You love it. You love security too much. And I'm telling you, you can stay where you are. You can. But you can't stay where you are and try to go where you're going. When you're not clear on what you want, like you get up whenever you feel like it, you don't have no drive, you don't have no passion. And so when people ask me, E, where your passion come from? Where your drive come from? I know what I want.
Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does.
Whatever it is you want, whatever it is you want to be, whatever it is you want to do, I want you to know you can do it.
Forget drinking, forget smoking, forget clubbing, forget going out, forget partying, forget chasing the cool, forget chasing what's popular, forget escaping the 9 to 5 through the weekend. Make a commitment to find a craft that you can feel excited, enthusiastic, and passionate about every single day.
Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing.
You literally have to see it first, right? It doesn't start until you can visualize it. And once you can see it, like you're off to the races.
Because if you never discover your purpose, how can you ever win the game of life? How can you really enjoy it thoroughly?
One day, young people, I woke up and realized that if you want to be successful, it's your dream and you gotta own it and you gotta be responsible for it. You've got to take out 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time you have, and you've got to actually go in a room, close the door, and you've got to see yourself doing it. You've got to feel yourself doing it. You've got to actually walk in it. You've got to go in the future, live it out, come back in the present, and start working toward it. It may not happen in the time that you think is going to happen, but I want you to know something. If you quit, it's never going to happen. If you quit, if you give up, if you stop, if you do not persevere, listen to me, you will never see it. And I tell people all the time, I didn't get here through academics. I got here because I refused to quit. I said, I've been through enough pain, I got to get a reward.
Just stop and think about what's most important. Think about why you're here. What's the purpose of your life? Step out of the moment and into eternity.
I want you to start saying to yourself, good things are supposed to happen to me. My rightful job is waiting for me right now, the rightful place, because it's better to go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated and humiliated.
Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
If you want to live extraordinary, you must do extraordinary. But you must demand it. If you wish it, you must demand it of yourself.
We all have problems. What I'm trying to tell you is this, though. Don't be consumed with them. Problems are a part of life, but guess what? They're not life.
Inside of every single problem that might be causing you to worry and creating stress for you is a gorgeous opportunity to build an even better business or build an even better life or install a better belief.
So the secret to real happiness is progress. Progress equals happiness, and if we can make progress on a regular basis, we feel alive. So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out.
You got to keep picking yourself up and reaching for it.
You can get through this. You will get through this. You must get through it. You are going to get through this.
You need to get outside your comfort zone. It's not about taking risks, it's about getting outside your comfort zone.
When did you define yourself? I mean, really, how many years ago did you come up with what you could and couldn't do in your life? How many years ago? So often in our lives, we've adapted to be a certain way so that we don't fail or so that people will like us or respect us, but it's not necessarily who we are.
It doesn't matter how you get knocked down in life, because that's going to happen. All that matters is that you got to get up.
Can't turn back the clock, right? The only thing you can do is learn from it, and hopefully you'll never make the mistake again.
And for anybody who's on the downside of advantage and relying purely on courage, it's possible. It's possible.
Think of the 3 biggest discouragers in your life. They're not your biggest discouragers. You are.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride.
But if your ambition is to fulfill your heart's calling, you'll always be cared for. You'll always be taken care of. Your needs, not your wants, your needs will always be met when you're following your heart's calling.
And if you're having one of those dark days, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel that darkness.
If I start crying, I don't think I'll ever stop.
If you're going through a divorce right now, if you're going through a financial problem right now, if you're going through an illness right now, if you are going through any form of crisis right now, I know you might not even want to get out of bed in the morning. It might be that bad. Please remember this: crisis comes to serve the person who wants to use it as fuel. And you have a choice. You can be a victim and you can let it break you, or you can actually ask yourself, how can I use this time in darkness, which will not last, because you know this, dark times never last. The real question is, how can I leverage the pain? How can I leverage the darkness? How can I leverage the heartbreak so it grows me, so it makes me stronger, so it makes me wiser, so it allows me to tap into the greatest of virtues of humanity.
Pain is always there because life is freaking painful, okay? But suffering is a choice.
And if you've got in your mind that you think that people don't understand, that's okay. They don't. But you do. You know darkness. You know evil. But more important than that, you know good. You know light. And you know laughter and love better than anyone.
I remember the past and I learn from it. I rejoice and celebrate in the present, and I reimagine the future. If you are victimized by your thoughts, you're victimized by your past. I use memories, but I do not allow memories to use me.
The first thing is to recognize that what's happening is not a punishment, that it's actually an opportunity. What most people do is pretend that it's not there, pretend that it doesn't exist, or try and do something to avoid feeling it. Please trust that it is leading you to something greater, and know that.
Use your pain as an instrument for your greatest growth.
So, embrace that darkness.
And in those moments then, when you can actually just embrace it and accept it, 5 years from now and 10 years from now, when you look back on it, you'll see it as a pivotal moment in your development.
Own it. Don't look away from it. Don't bury it in booze or in pills. Live your life. Embrace your life. With physical activity and with nature and with jiu-jitsu and with sun and with laughter and guitar and good memories and creativity And discipline. Discipline yourself so you can free yourself and move forward into the future.
Because you know, as you're going through a difficult time right now, I promise you, I assure you, the clouds will lift. Right? There is sunlight above the clouds. You're just looking at the clouds right now. And they will lift, and crisis has come to teach you the big lesson you're meant to learn to move to your next level in the next chapter of your greatest life. There is an invisible hand at play, whether you feel it or not, and maybe I am the servant of information to remind you in this moment right now, what you're experiencing doesn't feel good, but it is good. Please remember that you are built to shine. Great things are coming your way. You are not average. The darkness will pass. World class is coming, and you are meant to fly.
In life, you will run across disappointments. You sure will. You'll run across things that happen in your life that are so wrong. But I have a little saying. In the end, everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, it's not the end.
This is the moment. Watch this video twice.
When you no longer fear dying, what else can life threaten you with? What else? See, when you are willing to risk all of it. See, that's what life is. See, you got to be willing to give it all up.
When I visit students, I also tell them that the greatest risk they take is not taking one.
I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive.
What I mean by that is I need you to go 10 years into the future, 20 years into the future, and I need you to see yourself actually becoming the person you want to be.
Because you have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is not the time to try to maximize as much money so you can buy a fat whip.
When you're willing to throw it all on the line, that's when life takes on a whole new dimension. See, most people won't do that. They won't risk that. So decide to take some risks. You want to break the routine. Most people go through life following that routine, and we know that that is a living death. Going through life, playing it safe, you're like a breathing corpse. Because the only way that you can grow, you've got to risk. The only way that you can become your best, you have got to risk. You got to challenge yourself. You've got to venture into the unknown. You've got to take some chances. Got to put you on the line.
Sometimes by trying to solve your own problem, you're solving everybody else's problems. Because generally, if you want to affect the world, you have to change yourself first. Everybody tries to go out and change the world by changing other people and other things. But the real way to do it is by changing yourself. And sometimes making those really uncomfortable choices to go up against everyone in your life that you look up to and take that risk. Or go do this thing that nobody else is doing.
I think that you have to take risks all the time. If you don't do that, you don't move forward.
What changes our whole life is action. Why don't we take action? Fear. What do we got to do to get ourselves to do it? We got to make sure that we push ourselves through it by making a decision.
The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky.
Because to really, truly be creative, you have to be willing to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to fail.
This is the best and easiest 5 years of your life because this is when you need to attack what you love and what you want to do.
The problem is everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants to pay the price. Right? Everybody wants the prize, but nobody's willing to pay the price. Nobody's willing to put in the work. Nobody's willing to make the sacrifice. Nobody's willing to eat their own, to make it happen. Everybody's expecting it to be easy. I was just giving a talk the other day to school, and someone said, well, why would I choose that way? That's much harder. That way's a lot harder. Why would I choose that direction? And I was like, man, why are we talking about hard versus easy? Nobody said this was going to be easy. We don't want it to be easy. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it, right?
So in order to have that sense of fulfillment, getting out of your comfort zone, as you get out of your comfort zone, you expand your whole life. The more you do, the more you realize you can do. You expand your capacity. You expand your potential. You expand your horizons. You expand your vision of yourself and of life. You expand your participation in life. You're involved in life more. You'll get more out of life because you're putting more into life than most people. That's why it's so important that we're willing to take some risks. I don't know exactly what to do. It's okay. You'll find out. You either learn that you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. And from that you learn. You'll get some feedback. The universe will tell you, where do I get started? Just get started. The universe will give you immediate feedback. Here's something else. Choose to be happy in spite of life's challenges. In spite of life's challenges. Life changes every day. Sometimes things will be going your way. Sometimes things work well for you. Sometimes it won't work so well. Sometimes you'll have your health, you're feeling good and energetic, have a yes I can attitude, and there's some things that can happen to you in life that can take all of that from you. All of that can go. Sometimes you might be financially secure, and a sickness, one sickness can wipe out an illness. Life always changes. But you can choose in the midst of all of this that's going on to be happy in spite of it. In the good times and in the bad times, you can make a choice. So even if a cloud of sorrow comes over here, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now. Living in the present.
If it wasn't difficult, then everybody would be doing it. There'd only be, everybody would be an entrepreneur, everybody would be a billionaire, everybody would be a successful athlete or artist or businessman or salesperson or scientist. Everybody would be doing it, right? It's not supposed to be easy. You shouldn't want it to be easy, right? The minute someone tells me that they're looking for, what's the easiest way to do it or the fastest way to do it, I immediately, in my mind, if I'm feeling generous, I'll tell them right then, I'm like, bro, ma'am, sir, I'm sorry, but I think you should try something else. Like, you've got the wrong mindset. Like, if you're looking at what's easy and fast, like, go to McDonald's or work that 9 to 5. But we're talking about if you have a dream, if you have a mission, if you have a passion, this shit is not going to be easy, Easy shouldn't even be in the conversation or in your vocabulary. This is supposed to be hard. You should want it to be hard because then no one can replicate what you create. The most important thing that you have to understand when you embark on anything of value and of meaning is that it's not going to be easy.
Failure has such a negative connotation in our society, and I think this is totally unfair because what failure really is the opportunity to learn. If we never failed, it would never occur to us to do things differently. You would just keep doing the same thing because it would always work. But the world changes, people change, and so we have to change. We have to fail in order to succeed.
Decide to live your fantasy. See, in life, you can go through life, you can come up with reasons or you can come up with results. You can come up with excuses or you can come up with achievements. You can go through life blaming or you can come up with solutions. The choice is in your hands, satisfaction or despair. We can choose that. So look at your life and decide. What it is that you want to do that will give your life a sense of worth. Someone said that your life worth is measured by your accomplishments and not by your complaints. You want to have a fulfilling life? Decide not to make your life predictable. So some people, their lives are very predictable. They got a little routine, they do that, and they follow that day in and day out, day in and day out. You don't get much juice and happiness out of life like that if you're predictable. You want to change it up. Variety most certainly is the spice of life. Here's something else. Want to create a greater sense of fulfillment? Challenge your fears. Challenge them. Look those fears in the face and take them on. Don't allow them to rule you. Decide that you're going to take some chances. You've got to be willing to risk. If you're not willing to risk, you can't grow in life. Life has no power when you're not willing to risk. It said to laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach out for another is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk exposing your true self. To place your ideas, your dreams before a crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing, does nothing, has nothing, is nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they cannot learn, feel, change, grow, love, and live. Chained by their certitudes, they are a slave. They have forfeited their freedom. Only a person who risks is free.